My name is Thelma Hunt. I'm a retired carrier from the Richmond branch for 34 years. I've worked there. Retired in 2022 with 34 years.
Hi, my name is Paula Johnson. I am the president of Branch 325 in Lynchburg, Virginia. I started at the post office as a casual in 1990, and I immediately joined the union when I got in the post office.
Okay. My name is Doris Overcash. I started in December '73, and I was the first female and the only female for 7 years. And then another young woman came. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gail Burton Jones. I went to work at the Postal Service in 1982.
I'm Jenny Hall. So I got started the post office as an RCA, Rural Care Associate, in 1989. And then in 1998, I became a PTF city carrier. And the difference was amazing. It was because when I was an RCA, I had zero benefits. I think they have benefits now, but I had nothing. I had no health insurance, nothing. And those 9 years that I was an RCA does not count towards my retirement. So in 1998, when I became a city carrier, I immediately got benefits, health insurance, retirement, life insurance, all of that. And it was amazing. I loved it. And it was because of the union. And I joined the union, of course, when I was an RCA, and I also joined it when I was a PTF.
All right. So, well, of course, my name is Janine Gasper.
My name is Cindy Connors. I started in 1992 as a TE in Inglewood, Colorado. I switched to Virginia when I retired from the Postal Service. And when I met the folks in the Stanton Post Office and the NALC local there, they were so welcoming, but they had really new leadership. And so they wanted some mentorship. And I was happy to give it. They're a wonderful, welcoming group. And I've been active with them since. I'm a food drive coordinator for them. And I also do some formal A's and other work for them.
But as far as management was concerned, there was a lot of sexual harassment of what,
Yes.
if it would happen today, they would all have been terminated. One in particular, I remember him coming up saying, I can make things real easy for you, or I can make them hard. You see things my way, and you don't even have to go out on the street. I can keep you in the office all day. And I said, no, I didn't get my job that way, and I can go back where I came from. And of course, at that time, he stuck me on the worst route in the office for 2 weeks. Cried, but I got it done. I'd go in the bathroom and cry. I wouldn't let him see me cry. But by the third time I came out of the bathroom, I'm like, Gail, you're regular, so you only have to work 8 hours. So the longer you stay in the office, the less you're going to be on the street. So why stress it, you know? But yeah, it was a lot of that back then.
My union at the time was not happy because I was a female working, and they didn't want females in there. They all wanted to be the little boys club. So I didn't get very good representation. So what I had to do was learn how to represent myself, because if they're not going to do it, I'm going to do it for me.
When I came in '88, it was a pretty male dominant. And in my station, I think there was only 3 women we had over 30-some routes. So out of 30-some routes, there was 3 women in the post office at the time. And the men were pretty much dominating, thinking that women couldn't carry mail. And with my height, I heard a lot about me being too short to carry mail.
And so I had a neighbor a couple doors down, and he'd been a letter carrier for several years. And he said, why don't you try the post office? So I went and I applied for clerk, and me, I thought clerk meant like back then years ago, like a clerk typist, and office work is what I'd done. So I applied, and then when I went in, they called me in. Mr. Beagle was the postmaster at the time, and he put a paper across to me, and he said, Darcy, sign this, that it's for a position for a letter, they call it mailman then, a letter carrier, but you could just sign that and deny it. And I said, no, Mr. Biggle, I think I'll take it. I pushed it back to him, and he went back in his chair like, no, no. Long story short, I did go to work there, and when I got there, of course, it was all men, but they treated me good. I didn't get any extra favors. They did. I had some to come out on my road and check on me, and just see if everything was going okay. And but I was not treated like any different than the rest. I pulled my weight. Not saying it was easy, but I did. And of course, the union had good benefits, and I knew this is the place for me. I'll be staying here. And I did for 23 years. And when I became 60 years old is when I retired from there.
So when I got on the workroom floor, I had city carriers and managers coming up to me saying that I was taking a job away from a man. And so that was a lot of fun to work in that kind of an environment, because they would give me really awful help loads and things like that. Because I think one time they took 30 minutes off of a route, gave me the whole route except for that 30 minutes, and told me it was an hour and a half. And then they started yelling at me because I didn't get back in time. And of course, it was, I don't know how many streets it was awful.
Postal management really had a mission to make the women cry. There weren't very many of us. Maybe, I think there were about 5 female letter carriers in my whole office. And so we were really in the limelight. Even the job was hard physically, but they didn't think we could do it. So we were always having to prove ourselves. It was really challenging. I got active in the NALC because I could really see the need. The station I started at, the boss was always making the women cry, and you could see management had no intention of complying with the contract, and they really made it a difficult workplace. But I saw the camaraderie amongst the letter carriers, and I wanted to be part of that, so I got active in the NALC.
Branch president of NALC Branch 524 in Roanoke, Virginia since 2013. I was a Leadership Academy graduate from the Leadership Academy class number 3 in 2007. I've been the state secretary treasurer for Virginia since 2007. Arbitration advocate. I've been a shop steward, a trustee. I've been a vice president. And yeah, there we are.
I've held several positions. After I became regular and I became a steward, I did a couple of things. I became the Hero of the Year in 2011, and I was honored in DC for that. And then I became the union president in 2013. So when I became the union president, I wanted to help out new CCAs and new carriers that came in, so I became an OJI. And from there, I ended up going to Leadership Academy. I went to Arbitration Advocate. I also went to Formal A. I am also a Customer Connect person in my office, and I am on the emergency response team. So that is my passion right now. I'm a member of that, and I love it. And I'm also a member of the state board, so it's a lot of things I've done. I'm on the CCA retention team, where I help the CCAs come into the post office where they can be treated fairly, and they can, learn how to excel in being good carriers. And I also, on the joint safety team, we had one for Virginia, but now we don't. So I am part of a safety team that I go to Roanoke, and I also help safety with the new CCAs. I give them a little safety class when they first come in, and tell them, what's expected and how to be safe and how to maintain as new carriers for the post office. So, but here I have some roles that I play, but my most passionate one is my emergency response team. So
I was state president until this last year, which was 20, I can't even think of the years. 20, this is 25, 23. So probably about 10 years. And I ran against two guys, and they were thinking, oh no, she's not going to win. And I beat out the two guys, and that was my first time in history of the over 100-year-old branch that we had a female officer, and I was there for about 20 years, and then I ran for president in 2016 and became president, first time a female president. So that was pretty exciting. Over 100 years old branch that they have female officers within 100 years.
Secretary for many, many years. There was a little couple intervals there. When I first retired, another female took it over for a while. But what came to me and said, will you be secretary? Just almost as soon as I signed the papers, the 1187 to join. It's like, here's a woman, she needs to be secretary, right? So anyway, so I had it for, except for a little bit of intervals, I've had it for 51 years and still have it. And I also was Director of Health Benefits, retirees. I don't know, you name it. I think I did it. But anyway, tried to help out and do as much as I could. And the state, I was on the state board too for several years, and I was director of retirees on the state as Gail is now.
Locally, I've held the office of steward, vice president, president, health benefits, which I am now. And then as far as the state goes, I was an executive board member, vice president, president, and am now the director of retirees for the state.
I have been extremely privileged to have a lot of opportunities with the NALC. So of course, shop steward in my local branch. 2017, I took over as the branch president and did 2 terms as branch president. During that time frame, I was DRT certified, graduated class 23 of the Leadership Academy, arbitration advocacy certified. Let's see. CCA Academy facilitator, executive board member on the state, director of education for the state of Virginia. And then of course I am the current state president for Virginia. I am thrilled that I'm an arbitration advocate training facilitator with headquarters. And of course I stay busy currently doing arbitrations. I have the opportunity to TA and train a lot of our newer advocates or incoming advocates with Region 13. And I get to work throughout the state of Virginia as outside steward. So I'm seeing a lot of the state, which is really nice, not just our kind of secluded world on the peninsula. But my favorite, I really love the grievance process. I love doing arbitrations. I enjoy teaching and training and just working with people and sharing what I've learned, being able to pass it on. So that makes me happy.
I've been really lucky to have a whole bunch of positions with the letter carriers. I started as a shop steward when I was a PTF, and I did that for about 20 years. But I've also been Step B. I'm an arbitration advocate. I had the pleasure of working at NALC headquarters in the contract administration unit and in the food drive. And I currently am an arbitration advocate still as a retiree. And I just started the job of Virginia State Food Drive Coordinator. I would say my passion is doing the legislative political work and advocating for letter carriers on the Hill and with our representatives. I also served on the State Association Board in Colorado. So that's probably been the most exciting thing I've done. And I feel like we've really made an impact for letter carriers. I also was on release during several campaigns, and we elected some wonderfully letter carrier supportive candidates to Congress, but I'm going to have to say I have a tie. The second thing is the food drive. I absolutely love the food drive. It's the best day all year to be a letter carrier. And I love helping my branch support the drive and fundraise and help the community and work with the food bank. There's no downside to doing the food drive. So I look forward to doing that in the future also.
The ropes by working with the state board and being a member of the state board. I got to work with Gail Burton Jones. I got to work with Thelma Hunt. I got to work with Janine Casper. So I got some good feedback that came in, you know. And then having Tanya on with the NALC, you know, if I needed something, I could pick up the phone and call Tanya and get some answers. So
good addition to, I mean, you know, women tend to have a little more broader spectrum ideas. So I think it's been great. Virginia's moving up.
It's been a joy. When I was in Colorado, I had to help sort of break the glass ceiling there, but not in Virginia. There's a wonderful team of women here that I've worked with, Janine and Gail and Thelma, Jenny, and so many others, my friend Julie, etc., in the regional office. They just have been so welcoming, and we work as a team. We lean on each other all the time. We call each other anytime, ask for advice, help each other with projects, whatever it takes. So I no longer feel like an island, and they are really wonderful to work with.
Whoever thought we could be doing what we're doing today? I never thought that. And my enjoyment of not only working with people, my peers, or to be somebody that's a mentor, to be able to fight the way we can fight, to know that I am giving my all for an arbitration or for a case that's being put together, to be that voice for a carrier that can't put their voice forward because they're intimidated, because they don't know how, because it's not their personality. I am grateful to be that person to speak and fight for them.
Absolutely. They couldn't be more supportive. I was so excited when I got the call from the regional office to go back to doing arbitrations for Virginia. I always feel supported. I always feel supported, and like I said, really part of a team. They definitely foster that sense of community and leadership for women. Absolutely.
I think they do now more than they did back in the day. You've got the Leadership Academy, and you've got all these other things that they seem to be kind of encouraging women to go to more. Back with me coming up, no, that just wasn't happening. So as times have gone on, I guess they've recognized the women in power. And I think the fact that we had some women at NALC headquarters has kind of fostered that idea more and more. So, yeah.
Once you show them you can do the job as well as anybody else, then they respect that.
I would suggest that they use all resources available. You got national, you got the MBA's office, and they're a good resource. And you got people who've been paid that way before you. So I would say use them. Be sure to use those as resources. They're available.
I'd say the first thing is to really lean on your union and make some really quality friends in the workplace. Know your rights, go to union meetings, be confident, learn to do your job professionally and be proud of it. And don't be afraid to seek advice, ask questions. Again, lean on your letter carrier family. That's the number one thing that got me through.
I tell any other female, do it if you want to. There's no limit that you can't do. It's nothing you can't do. Because I kept saying, I can't do this, I can't do this. I can't do it, and I did it. You know, you gotta have some faith. You gotta tell God, listen, God, I'm trying my best, I'm doing my best, and I want to move forward, I want to move up, and this is what happens. So yes, you can excel and do anything you want to do. If you put your mind to it and you got that heart to go get it, go get it. Yep.
I would also say if one person tells you no, don't be discouraged by that. If you feel like you are capable of doing what it is you want to do, go for it.
Right.
You know, to not try it is automatically you're not going to get it. You've got nothing to lose by trying and showing what you're capable of. And I wholeheartedly encourage that. Yeah, most definitely.
Don't feel like they gave it to you because you are a woman. They gave it to you because you were qualified.
Help everybody out, help other women out, help people succeed, because when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. And that's a great thing. I know Leadership Academy was fantastic when I went, and it helps you to learn these kind of things, and it gives you a broader perspective of the whole country.
In fact, as I think about all the opportunities that I've been afforded, I'm wowed in the opportunities, and ever grateful. But again, that's me being in Virginia, but it's about our region as well and the leadership within our region. So I'm grateful for those opportunities.